My video for December the 8th, 2019 is video number 3298. The title is The Real Drug Cartel Poses as Legal Syndicate. I got this from Information Clearinghouse. Quote, reasons why many people refuse the flu shot. Facebook has no right, and I didn't have the word to in there, but it belongs there, censor this information, by Arjun Walia, who wrote, quote, if you haven't already heard, Facebook is censoring information and articles about vaccines that are anti-vax or information that in some way paint vaccines in a harmful light. This is extremely concerning because there are a number of experts in the field, doctors and scientists, who have been publishing research in several peer-reviewed journals that do bring up concerns about vaccines. It's simply facts, information, and science, yet it's still being censored, which makes no sense. Why is Facebook limiting the reach of posts and articles that are presenting peer-reviewed science and the viewpoints and research of medical health professionals and scientists? Is it because Facebook's fact checkers are funded by big pharmaceutical interests? End quote. Yeah, both Facebook and YouTube seem to be censoring or in some way limiting my videos too, which is the reason I contemplate bringing this part of my mission to an end. The article in Information Clearinghouse has quite a few interesting quotes, but I'm going to actually read one of them. When it comes to the flu vaccine specifically, Dr. Alan Moss, MD and professor at the West Virginia University School of Medicine said, quote, the flu vaccine happens to be the vaccine that causes the most injury in this country. The Vaccine Injury Compensation Program, 40% of all vaccinations in this country are flu shots, but 60% of all the compensation are for the flu vaccine. So a disproportionate number of vaccine-related injuries are the flu shot. I think many of you, it's been recommended to you that you get the flu shot. I don't know if you're aware of the fact, the CDC statistics are that every year they look at vaccine effectiveness. For this particular year, the vaccine effectiveness is 48%. So that means it's not highly effective. It's not even all that effective. If you look at the scientific literature, the evidence to support giving flu shots is moderate to weak. The evidence, yeah, I said that. It is not strong evidence. They say the evidence to supporting giving the flu vaccine to people over age 65 is not there. It is inconclusive. So a lot of people, or a lot of the things we've been told as Americans about vaccinations are not really based on the science. That's the end of me reading the quote there. Anyway, folks, as I've said in videos over the period of time and 9 years that I've been recording and making these videos, I took my vaccinations when I was a kid. I didn't have any choice in the matter. And when I was in the Army, of course, they give you shots and you don't have any choice in the matter there either. But as I've done research over the years, I have shunned away from prescription drugs of all kinds. In fact, even having 2 open heart surgeries, the only time that I was taking the prescription drugs is when I had no choice when I was in the hospital. And I've talked about that again in other videos. But the propaganda about vaccines and about drugs still is considered mainstream stuff because the pharmaceutical companies are some of the largest companies with some of the highest profit margins, other than government, in the whole world. government, of course, is the most profitable thing because that's legalized theft of property and money from the citizenry or the population in each country. And the United States is the master at stealing from its people. And in this country, drugs, the drug industry is way up at the top of being protected by the government, which is another insanity. And that's why it's so hard to stop this. I mean, Trump hasn't, as far as I know, said anything about the big drug cartels. But of course, a lot of the people in these cartels are afraid because they don't want people waking up. They don't want people to hear anything that's considered alternative that would challenge the profit margins of these big companies. And as I said, the drug companies, Merck and the other ones that, I mean, Merck was my largest customer, as I said, the largest customer when I worked for American Towel Service as the supervisor manager. Anyway, we've got to get to the point where Facebook and YouTube and mainstream media and the government and all the corporate institutions stop trying to control humanity. We were born free and enslaved by a legal system. And it's the legal system that is the problem. It is a cartel. It is a criminal operation, folks. When are we going to understand that corporatizing human beings is a crime against humanity, not just in the United States, but anywhere it happens, and it's happening everywhere. Everywhere around the world, corporations have risen to controlling the people and controlling the information that might inform people so that we could rise up together and say, stop this nonsense. Of course, the human population far exceeds the population or the number of people that are in the control seats that sit behind the desks and make the decisions. It's been a criminal operation going back who knows how many millennia ago. Eons, some would say. And this is the world that we live in. And we need to wake up. There is evidence of a spiritual awakening. I didn't know these things when I was growing up. I took my vaccines and my parents didn't have any question about it. They did what the doctors told them to do. When I went in the military, I didn't have a choice. They shoot them right through the skin. There's not even a needle involved. They put this thing in and they just pull a trigger and it just shoots a stream of poison into the human body. And are all vaccines poison? I don't know. But I know that as long as the money thing is part of the game, there's a reason for corruption. And the whole money system causes corruption. And everything is a legalized syndicate at the corporate level of all the big corporations, whether they're pharmaceutical or whatever they're involved in. It's all about war. It's all about profit. It's all about controlling the people. And we need to wake up. And companies like Facebook and YouTube that I honestly believe, are limiting the amount of viewership that I get. I don't know if they still do that, but they succeeded at some point in bringing it from me being able to get 1,000 or more views on every one of my videos, sometimes over 10,000, to where I rarely get 200 views, rarely, and sometimes not even 100 in the first day of posting the video. Anyway, we need to have an awakening, and I wish that God would take responsibility for creation. Thank you for listening, and namaste.